Tyrus absolutely destroyed Bill Maher.
I'm sorry, I don't know what y'all watched, but Bill Maher, I'm sorry.
After Maher's infamous dinner with Trump at the White House, he admitted he was wrong about the president, but Tyrus wasn't buying it and went as far as saying this.
I would ask Bill Maher to step in my office, and he would say, why? Because he's fired.
So today we're going to cover his interesting take, but first let's watch the praise Bill was getting right after the visit.
But what Bill Maher did is he walked into something unknowable. He walked into dinner with a guy he really couldn't stand, on the recommendation of others, had it set up, walked in, didn't know what he was going to get, was pleasantly surprised, and then did something else courageous. Went on his show and told his mostly liberal and some illiberal audience, this was really a good thing. I liked the guy that I met. At least he wasn't the monster I thought he was. Here's who I met.
Joey, it is interesting. He could have done that. He could have taken the credit from people on the right and met with Trump, and then he could have gone on his show in Hollywood and he could have bashed Trump and they would have loved it, right? So he did kind of take the tough way out. I mean, it's difficult for him to sit there in front of that audience and say, you know what, I liked him.
I don't know. He's been doing this for a while now. I mean, he's been doing it at least since the election season of kind of challenging what is accepted by the left.
Personally, I think Maher's visit had its positives, but the way it was strategically used to paint Bill as the ultimate voice on the center left is kind of interesting to say the least. As Joey mentioned, he's been calling out the far left for a couple of years now, but that tone noticeably ramped up after the last election, and while some might say it's just him evolving politically, I think there's more going on behind the scenes. His show Real Time with Bill Maher is owned by HBO, which in turn is owned by Warner Brothers Discovery, and here's the interesting part, CNN's also owned by the same parent company, and we've seen how they stopped pandering to the far left around the same time that Maher did. You might call it a coincidence, but these type of narrative changes usually don't happen independently. It's highly unlikely that each subsidiary decided to course correct on its own. Big media shifts like this often come from higher up at the corporate level, but that's why I believe this sudden embrace of the center isn't entirely organic, but more of a strategic rebrand. Now that we've had this out of the way, let's hear Tyrus's take.
What do you think? Maher said, liberals are not going to like this. I know they're going to come after me. And of course, they did come after him.
I'm sorry, I don't know what y'all watched, but Bill Maher, I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry. Good. I'm sorry. This is like someone who talked about black people his whole life and then had dinner with one and said, actually, after I had dinner with them, they're not that bad, guys. No, you don't get to do that, you coward. You went on a show and you tried to play both sides of the street.
That's right.
Why? So maybe he could do your show because the 300,000 people that watch it, if we had those numbers here, I wouldn't be here. These dudes make me laugh.
That's absolutely right. For years, Bill has been an outspoken critic of Trump, and everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but he was a part of the overall MSM machine that spent the past few years attacking the president nonstop and, frankly, lying. At times, that included pushing false narratives, helping shape the idea that the Don was some kind of supervillain, but here's an example.
He said, I'm going to make the Mexicans behave, and he called them... Play that little...
Yeah. Listen, you're...
Play it again. They didn't hear it.
Listen,
what?
Listen to me, you...
I drop a 25% tax on China. And you know, I said to somebody that is really the messenger. The messenger is important. I could have one man say, we're going to tax you 25%. And I could say another, listen, you we're going to tax you 25%.
He also once referred to Trump as the Che Guevara of deplorables and even openly called for a recession back in 2018 when his argument being, I'm hoping for it because I think that's one way to get rid of Trump is crashing the economy, so please bring on the recession. Sorry if that hurts people, but it's either root for recession or you lose democracy. And that's why many people aren't buying Bill Maher's rebrand. By the way, I've noticed you haven't liked the video or subscribed to the channel yet, so what are you waiting for? Now, Tyrus didn't stop there as he went on to call out the left's core criticism of the White House visit, saying this.
You said things about President Trump nonstop. You had no reference point. That's all you proved to me. You sit down with a man, you break bread with a man, then you come and say, well, on this night, he was okay, but don't be mad at me. Splitting hairs, man up. I don't know what this whole thing, everyone keeps acting like they need Bill Maher. The little guy who doesn't lift weights, 99% of the internet, what, MySpace? Come on, man. This dude represents nobody. A PR stunt for who? I'm sorry, I missed the Oval Office Rose Garden meeting where President Trump was talking about Bill Maher was there.
Yeah.
I missed that one.
Yeah.
He's talking about it. The president's not talking about it. He doesn't need Bill Maher. He's got 70% of the country cheering him on. He walked into UFC, the place
And this is another point the left attached to. They acted like Bill visiting the White House somehow granted Trump newfound legitimacy, but let's not kid ourselves, he already had that. The man secured over 77 million American votes during the past election. It's clear the president doesn't need Maher or any figure to validate him. In fact, it might be the other way around, which Tyrus explained perfectly as the continued takedown followed.
Why did he accept dinner with him if he didn't?
Because he's like everybody else.
No, why did Trump?
Because that's who Trump is. He will break bread with anyone. He will sit with Kim Jong-un and break bread. So little punk-ass Bill Maher coming to the house and sitting in the seat. And what did Trump did? He was gracious. He treated him. Everything. He had to leave and come back and go, he wasn't any of the things I said. Because you were part of the machine. You were part of the thing. He wasn't as bad as Joe and Micah was, where he's sharp as a tack, but he led the charge. He continued to say things that weren't true. He supported things without ever bothering to say, hey, you know what? I want to sit down. And when I have a problem with someone, if I had a problem with Johnny and me and him had a problem, I'd be like, we need to sit down and talk before I would go out on social media and talk about him. But he needs President Trump.
And I'd say, let me have
needs
a
the
weapon
audience.
first.
Yes.
Let me prove what Tyrus is just saying with numbers. The real-time episode that aired after the White House dinner pulled in around 900,000 viewers on CNN. And that might not sound huge, but it's especially significant when you consider it's only the fourth time in the past year the show has hit or passed that mark. Clearly something about that episode drew extra attention. It wouldn't be a stretch to say that many of those viewers were Trump supporters turning in out of curiosity. After all, Kid Rock went on multiple Fox interviews saying how great the event was. And to wrap things up, we have a special message from Tyrus to Bill, and it is hilarious.
But at this point, to coin one of the greatest, funniest phrases in all of comedy, I would ask Bill Maher to step in my office. And he would say, why? Because he's fired. There it is.
I kind of like that.
Wow, you may have changed my mind.
Wow.
Lady, even my 5-year-old cousin could change your mind. Jokes aside, though, this is exactly why so many people respect Tyrus and genuinely value what he has to bring to the table. He doesn't dance around issues, he says what he thinks plain and simple. That kind of honesty is rare these days, especially in political commentary where so many voices play it safe or follow the script. Whether you agree with him or not, you always know where he stands, and that's why people listen to him. But I'd love to know your thoughts here, so let's get the conversation rolling in the comments down below. And if you want your friends to get their coverage from an independent source like myself, please share the video with them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.